You're getting ready to do your most high priority task of the day. You're 5 minutes in, and you can already feel your motivation dwindling, hanging on by a thread, and your mind wandering through the clouds. Not good sign. You hear that familiar sound that you absolutely love and hate, and then you slowly grab your phone, checking it. You know this is a mistake, but you do it anyways out of reflex, just so you can calm your mind from the urge of getting that juicy notification. And then before you know it, 1 hour has passed and you're now scrolling through your favorite social media in the depths of dopamine driven content. We've all been in this situation before. I've been in this situation numerous times. So what do we do about it? What can we do to combat this unhealthy habit that we've somehow developed for ourselves? Let me share a few strategies that have worked for me. Note that these aren't any magical scientific techniques that I've been using. It's just something that's worked for me, and hopefully it's something that can work for you too. So, what I do the night before. First of all, I dump all my tasks onto a sheet of paper or on my whiteboard. You can choose whatever medium you like to write on the best. You can choose your tablet, you can choose your Notion page, your Google Docs, whatever, okay? Just dump all your tasks onto one page where you can see them visibly. Next, you want to number your tasks from most highest to least priority. Realistically speaking, you shouldn't have more than 5 to 7 high priority tasks that you need to complete the next day. Next, I take my top 3 high priority tasks and I break it down into chunks, making sure that each mini task isn't more than 30 to 40 minutes long. I personally have low focus and motivation, so I like to break it down into chunks. And so the key with this is that I make sure that each mini task is very specific. It covers everything that I need to focus on for the task. And I like to ask myself, what is the point of doing each mini task? What would it help me achieve in the grand scheme of things to contribute to the big task of my day? So let's do an example together, okay? So let's say that you have calculus homework due in 3 days, right? Let's say that you have 30 questions to finish and you have not started yet. It's due in 3 days, you're panicking, you don't know what to do, right? So here's how I would go about it. So, the big task, calculus homework. I know that for me, one question is gonna take me approximately half an hour. So if that's 30 minutes per question and have 30 questions, ends up being 900 minutes, which is equal to 15 hours. Each day, I have to spend 5 hours on this task. So each day, I have to do 10 questions of calculus. Now, that sounds a bit more manageable than doing 30 freaking questions. So what we do from here is we're gonna break this 10 questions into 5 questions per chunk. This is gonna end up to being 2.5 hours per big chunk. So now we're down to it, even smaller, right? 2.5 hours for 5 questions. Now that sounds a bit more manageable to do, but still it's a bit daunting to hear like that big number. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 3 questions. We're gonna take a break, 2 questions, right? We're gonna take a small break. And then after that 2.5 hours, you're gonna take a big break or you're either gonna transfer to another task. Because for me, I find that if I spend too long on the same task, I get so drained. So that's why you have to either take a break or continue on to another task and come back to it later, right? So 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the evening, then you're done your 5 hours of math for the day, right? So yeah, that's basically how I would chunk a big task like doing your calculus homework. So after you've broken down your big task into chunks, just like in my example from before, then you want to prepare your environment for the next day. You want to set up your laptop to have all the tabs open for your most high priority task, and you also want to have your environment free of anything that's distracting, such as your phone or some random thing that you like to fidget with and procrastinate with instead of doing your actual homework. So on the day of, you want to put your phone on do not disturb. This is obvious, but just to be clear, you do not want to get distracted by your phone. You might forget, but instead of picking up your phone and looking at the notification when you hear one because you forgot to put it on do not disturb, throw your phone under the bed. So then you can't look at your phone. Next, you want to set a timer for each task. So with the example of the math homework, you want to set a timer for 30 minutes so that every time you finish a question, you can take a 5 to 10 minute break in between. It might end up taking longer than just blasting through 2.5 hours, but it's going to be easier on your mind to actually do 2.5 hours of calculus. And then the last thing, the most important thing, is to execute on your task. If you do not execute on your task, there was no point into making this whole elaborate plan for nothing, okay? Taking action is the most important thing ever, and I will continue to say that line in like any video that I make. You must take action. So hopefully you learned something from this and you know how to better manage your tasks and your time to effectively get your work done and maintain focus for a longer period of time. So what are you waiting for? Let's end procrastination today. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever. I'll see you next week.